Richards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Just bear with me while I get a few people sign on and I listen to make sure my volume is okay. Let's do that there. Oh, yep, that sounds all right. Yep, sounds okay. So we'll just get ready there. The light looks a little bit dark in the craft room today, but I've got both my lights on and on high beam, so hopefully the light and the colours will come out okay as well. Very cold, well, not very cold, but a coldish sort of dull day here in southern Tasmania. Okay, we might as well get started. A few people jumping on. Please jump on. Tell me where you're watching from. Say hi. It's lovely to see familiar faces and new faces jumping onto my videos every week. So please let me know where you're watching from. Today I'm going to be playing with the Uniquely Artistic stamp set. Admission to make, this is in the annual catalogue, so it's been available for quite a few months, but I only just ordered it during the recent 15% off stamp set sale, so I really wasn't even going to order it at my normal daily crafting. But when I saw a few of the cards that other demonstrators had made with it over the last few months, I thought, definitely need to give this one a bit of a go. Some beautiful, if you pop onto Pinterest or Instagram or just online, you can see some beautiful cards made with this particular set. In fact, I got this overall design from a demo on Pinterest, but I have changed it quite a bit to get to this level, or to this design here, which I can call my own. I will be changing it again for the card we do together today. I'm just going to brighten the colours up a wee bit just to get, just to bring some other colours in there, maybe make it a bit more feminine. But I love this one. I'll just explain what this is. It's the colours I've used here are Evening Evergreen and Crumb Cake. So they're the two main colours there. The sentiment is out of my favourite sentiments at the moment, the Charming Sentiments stamp set. And I've popped it through the Time Worn Type embossing folder, which I'm going to do without a second card as well. So, and it's on a Crumb Cake card base. I'm going to, as I say, lighten this up a little bit, make it a little bit more feminine. I'm going to introduce some soft succulent. I'm going to keep a little bit of Evening Evergreen in there, and I'm going to pop the flowers in Pale Papaya just to sort of lighten it up a bit. I haven't done it with these colours yet, so we'll learn together whether it's an improvement or a non-improvement on the original colours there. Then I'm going to do a second card later on. Haven't actually got it in my head and not on in front of me at the moment, but I'm using another stamp set I picked up during the 15% off sale, this Watercolour Shapes stamp set. So I'm going to use that in conjunction with the Uniquely Artistic. So pop those two together. This Uniquely Artistic, I love it so much, you'll probably see it pop up as a product class over the next couple of months. I think probably once we get through Christmas, I might pop this one in early in the new year. Got a few wonderful familiar names jumping on. I can see Barb and Deb and Kay and Susan. Who else can I see? That would have to be Judy from Ballarat, wouldn't it? Probably. The name's not coming up there. I've got a couple of ones that don't come up because I've got a different group coming in. Anyway, so lovely to see you all, says Julie there. Susan, yeah, great to see you guys. Thanks for joining me this morning or evening, wherever it is that you're watching from. Okay, so let's get started. As I say, we're going to use this stamp set and I'm going to use slightly different colours. So I haven't actually cut the cardstock yet because it's a fairly simple card to cut up. So I thought I would probably do that as we go. And it's a pretty simple card to stamp too. So I thought if I had everything cut, we'd be in and out of this for, in 10 seconds flat. So I'm going to start with a basic white panel for my stamping. Going to make that 5 3/8 by 4, and only measured that way because that'll make it an 1/8 of an inch smaller than my card base. All my usual measurements, nothing too confusing there. I've got a pile of equipment to my left-hand side that if it falls over, there's going to be a horrible crash. I might move that out of the way. Okay, so that's our panel for, or layer for stamping. Okay, so let's get on with the colours. So I'm going to use the soft succulent for the leaves in the background. So I'll grab my block and I'll grab the stamp. I probably should have blocked it up already, but anyway, here we go. So the stamp comes with a sort of a background stamp, I suppose you'd call it, and a detail stamp. Most of the images from the stamp set come with that, so you don't have to colour it in. You've got the stamps there available to use. So there's the detail one, and this is the colour one. So I'm going to do that first. I'm actually going to use the soft succulent, but I'm going to stamp it off once for the colours. Do it whichever way you feel comfortable with. I'm going to put the colour in first and then bring the detail in over the top. So stamp that off once and then I'll bring it in onto the card. This is just basic white, as I mentioned. So there you can see the sort of artistic splodginess, which I'm sure is a craft term, and if it's not, it should be, of that colouring. Now I'm going to bring a second one down here, and then just a little part one, and then I'm going to bring in the detail stamp next. Here we are. So you can roughly see where those leaves are going to go. Now I'll use full strength soft succulent for the detail. Now it's one of these artistic, what they call it, artistic designs where it doesn't fit exactly. It sort of tends to it's more just of a hint of colour rather than an actual coloured in image. Should have actually used mine. I'm going to bring in a little foam mat for that, just so I get the coverage, because it's a photopolymer stamp. Finding that all my stamps, my ink pads are getting to the age where they all need a good re-inking. So I may have to have a day where I just sit and re-ink stamp pads. This one definitely is one of the ones that needs it. You don't actually realise, well, I don't realise it until I get it out to use it, and then I pop it away and go, oh well, next time I'll come back and re-ink that before my next video, and then obviously I then forget. It's one of those put it off till later things. So anyway, so there's our little 3 leaves there in our soft succulent. I really, really like that. So what I might do now is bring in, and now this is the little bit I'm tiny bit unsure about, but we'll give it a go anyway. I'm going to bring in one of the little solid leaves from the stamp set. Let me just pop these away first. Bring in the little solid, and this is where I'm going to have my evening evergreen back in the design. So just got a couple of little solid leaves. That there. I'm just going to pop those in and around the soft succulent ones. Okay. just like that, just a few, just to bring that sort of design in, just like that. I think that's enough. Don't want to overdo it, as I usually do. Thank you, guys. So there we are. So that's the start of that. Just get that away. I've noticed I've got a splodge on my finger, so I'm just going to make sure I get rid of that of ink on my finger. I don't want to ruin the design before I've even started. Okay, so I'm going to bring in a second, just a scrap of basic white now. I know I had one here somewhere. There it is. And I'm going to use that to stamp our flowers. Okay, so I'm going to stamp them, 2 of them, and I'm going to fussy cut them. Same sort of process, but I'm using my pale papaya this time. Grab a nice big block. Again, well, let's see. I'm going to stamp off once and then see what it looks like on the paper. Yep, that's fine. I like that. There we are. So that's our colour. Again, it's sort of a splodgy ink spot type of design. And I'll bring in the detail one. Hope everyone's having a great week so far. Where are we? Wednesday morning. It's been a busy week here. I've got lots of my workshop deliveries starting to arrive, so I can start putting some kits together for my Christmas workshop. If you were thinking of participating in my Christmas workshop, please reach out to me this week, because I really want to get the final orders in over the weekend and get those kits moving. I am offering you can just buy the PDF and links to the video tutorials if you'd like to purchase those without any of the kits and just use your own stash at home. That's perfectly fine. If you check my website, you'll see the details of that. So it's relatively inexpensive, and I'll email the kits to you early in October. But if you would like to participate with the kits, please reach out this week and arrange to make your payment. I have a couple of ladies who are paying this week, so their orders will go in over the weekend as long as those payments come when they're promised. But yeah, so this is your last week to do that. I'm just going to fussy cut it. It's not a huge fussy cut. It's just mostly round edges. A couple of little dips in, but I'm sort of going to ignore those to a certain degree. Just stick to the round edges. Now we do have while I'm fussy cutting, I can talk and fussy cut at the same time. We have, starting on the 4th of October, a new joining offer. So your starter kit, when you become a hobby demonstrator or a business demonstrator, it's entirely up to you. You don't have to do videos. You don't have to do workshops unless you actually want to. And as part of my team, obviously, if you do want to, I'll give you every help that I can if you wanted to do that sort of thing. Get out there and make yourself known, but very happy to help you. But as a hobby demonstrator, perfectly okay. Starting from the 4th of October, the deal is an extra $48 worth of product of your choice in your starter kit. So it's basically $283 worth of product for $169 with free delivery. So you're also saving yourself delivery on that as well. So if you're thinking of, even if you've got a wish list at the moment that comes to around $280, and let's face it, who hasn't, please think about joining, even just for that one order. You don't have to order anything else, although obviously I'd like you to, but when you do, as a demonstrator, you get a 20% discount straight off for as long as you are active. Anyway, so that's the offer starting on the 4th of October. The starter kit is even better value. Okay, so I've cut out my 2 little flowers there, so they've come out quite well. I quite like those. So they're in the pale papaya. I'm just going to sort of stack them one on top of the other and sort of make them look like they are the one blossom, if that makes sense, just to give the blossom a little bit of extra volume. And I'm going to pop that on the front of the card there. Oh, I knew I had a splodge. That's the one on my finger there that I missed. Just see if I can find my mono eraser. If I can't, it doesn't matter. Oh, where are you? My husband would say, why don't you put things back in the same place? Sometimes I tend to agree with him. Just get that little bit of an ink splodge off there, at least lighten it up. I'm going to pop this through an embossing folder anyway, and that will probably take the emphasis off that little splodge a wee bit, but the rubber's done a good job. Okay, so I'm going to glue one of the flowers just in place like that, and then I'm going to bring the other one in with a dimensional or two, just to give that a wee bit of height, and that's going to be the end result there. So we'll put the sentiment on first, then we'll run it through the embossing folder, and then we'll put the flowers on. Almost got ahead of myself there. So I'm going to try and find my sentiment. I'm going to use the same one as I did on the previous card, wishing you wonderful everything, and it's already blocked up somewhere. Oh, gosh, I told you the mountain of stuff I have next to me is going to come crashing down. Here it is. Now I'm going to stamp the sentiment in the soft succulent. Went a little bit later today. Apologies if you were expecting me at 10 and I went at 10:30. I ordered my groceries to be delivered, and hoping that it would be more towards the 9 o'clock end, and it ended up that they were going to deliver at 10 o'clock. So I thought, need to reschedule so I can get the groceries packed away. Excuse me, wee bit of dry throat. Okay, so there is our sentiment there. So that, as I say, that's from the Charming Sentiments, wishing you everything wonderful. Now I'm going to pop that through the time-worn type embossing folder. Oh, crash bang, apologies for that. That was my computer screen just getting bashed. Okay, so here is my embossing folder. I'm just going to pop that one through. Here we are. I just love the effect that this embossing folder, it's growing on me. I used to use what was it called? Subtle 3D or the Tasteful Textures embossing folder, but sadly they retired. So I've started using the time-worn type, and it's just as nice, and it just still gives that same sort of nice extra layer of dimension to the stamping. I'm not sure that you can actually, oh yeah, you can see it there. So it's wanting to sort of look a bit like an old book that's sort of got moisture got to it, or something, or the moths or something have got to it, and it's made it sort of all blotchy, but it's really, really nice. I like that one. Okay, so now we can add our flowers. I can't believe I was almost going to put the flowers on before popping it through the embossing folder, but anyway, bit of a save. As I say, I'm going to glue one and then I'm going to just put a couple of dimensionals on the other one, just like that. So that one's going to glue. And my dimensionals, what have we got there? Big ones. And now I'm deciding what coloured card base I put this on. I think it will be soft succulent. I think that's where I'm leaning at the moment. Here we are. Okay, so there is our basic design there. So now I'm going to cut myself a card base. I found a nice little appropriately sized scrap of soft succulent in my scraps box. There's nothing more gratifying almost than popping through your scraps box and finding the right size and the right colour scrap. So you know that you'll use it and not have to break into a whole new piece. That might just be me. I find it very, very gratifying. Basically because I think I'm a bit tight with my money. I don't like wasting things. Okay, so there's my little scrap piece of cardstock card base. We'll bring in our card and we're just going to just attach that to the card base. And I think the slightly darker colour of the soft succulent will set that off quite nicely. Now I haven't popped any bling on this one. I think the dark one doesn't really need, I don't think the dark one needed bling because it was a little bit more sort of austere almost. Oh, I know what I'm missing. I didn't put the little splodges on. I hope I can still do those. The stamp set's got some little, just random dots really, just little 3 of them there. And I'm going to, although I'm a little bit late in the piece, I'm going to pop those around. Hopefully they'll stamp okay over the time-worn type. Again, probably should have been done before, but that's okay. It's going okay. It just fills in some of those gaps. Yep, that's better. It did look a bit bare before. Looked like the cupboard was bare, but that's better. Okay, so there we are. So that's the lighter version of the dark card. Let's bring them both in together. You can tell me which one you prefer. Which one do you prefer, the dark one on my left or the sort of softer, more feminine one on my right? I think actually I quite like the dark one, but I think that's because it's an unusual colour combination for me. The softer one is pretty too. I actually think I quite like the dark one. Anyway, both pretty and both very, very usable. Okay, so as I say, that is such a lovely stamp set for those sort of really eye-catching flowers, and that's not a overly onerous fussy cut with that flower either. So yeah, nobody could complain about that, she says, looking particularly at one particular group of ladies who complain. Okay, so I'm just going to tidy up a wee bit and then we'll do the second card. Again, this, as I say, mentioned, this one I'm going to sneak in the watercolor shapes stamp set as well. Not sure whether the watercolor shapes stamp set may pop up in a class in the future as well, because it goes really nicely with some the basic shape dies and punches. So it's you'd probably already have the circle and the square and the rectangle and the oval in your stash to cut those out. I think the oval goes with the, and I haven't used it for such a long time. Where is it? I think the oval goes with the double oval punch, which I can't actually find, but I'll investigate that. I'm sure it'll pop up in a future class. Here we go. So apparently the oval fits there. Not that I'm going to stamp it. Yep, it does. That oval fits the punch. So yeah, we've got some possibilities there for a good class as well. So anyway, as I say, we're going to use this one as well. I found the stamp. The stamp I'm going to use out of the watercolor shapes is the big rectangle one, and I found it a bit hard to deal with on a block, so I'm going to use my Stamparatus. I'm going to cut myself another piece of cardstock. As I say, I hadn't actually cut this one. Have I got a smaller one? No, that feels like thick, so we'll stick with this one. I'm going to cut myself again. I'm going to cut myself a card front. Deb says her wish list is getting longer and longer. We're definitely in the wrong game for short wish lists, Deb, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to, if this card turns out as it is in my brain, I'm going to make the border a wee bit larger. We'll see. It may be an absolute disaster, but you'll all be lovely and kind to me, I'm sure. Okay, so we've got our piece there. I'm going to, as I say, bring in my Stamparatus. Pop that in with my very strong magnet. So this stamp set, the watercolor shapes, you'll see it again, basically is just watercolor shapes. That's about as much as it is, and it does have the sort of like light and dark that you get when you use watercolor, so you don't have to traumatize with blending brushes or daubers or watercolor pens. It's just totally there. So yeah, it's a good little stamp set to have. So I'm just going to grab this little rectangle. I'm going to pop it sort of central but slightly high. So just there. So just above central, but central on the side by side way, if that makes sense. I'm sure there's a scientific word for that. Laterally, probably. There we go. Now, this one's going to be another earthy coloured one. I'm going to use, if I can find it, I really do need to get a better process here. I'm going to use Sahara sand for this particular stamp. I'm going to try and keep it light. So I'm hoping I can get one good stamp out of it and not have to come back in again. Okay, so as you can see, it's given me what passes pretty well for a watercolor rectangle. Here we go. So lights and darks, that whole sort of distinctive appearance, which is good. Okay. Then I might keep using my Stamparatus. I'm going to use, pop this back, I'm going to use Early Espresso. Love a bit of Early Espresso. And that really lovely detailed leaf that we used before. I'm going to just pop that, excuse the crinkly noise. Come on, you. I'm going to pop that straight over the top of the rectangle. Probably should have kept it stuck down. Okay, so I'm going to pop that just here. Oh, the right way up would be good. Over the top of that little watercoloured rectangle that's not watercoloured. There. if you have any, you've been thinking about joining Stampin' Up and you have any questions about what the requirements are and how much you have to spend to stay active, all those sorts of things, please reach out. I'd love to have my team grow. We've got 15 in my team at the moment, which is wonderful. And we have a little group that we get together and chat. We have team meetings, although we haven't had a team meeting for a wee while since my father passed. I will get to having team meetings again. But yeah, we have team meetings, we have swaps, we support each other and have a lovely little friendly team. So please, it's not just about stamping, it's a lovely way of meeting friends as well. Okay, so there we are. We have our that beautiful detailed flower in that little rectangle. It's yeah, really nice. I love the earthy colours of this one as well. Neither of these stamp sets actually have sentiments with them, which is good in a way, because then you can whip out your favourite sentiments from other stamp sets that you have. We always do have our favourite go-tos. I'm going to use one of my favourite go-tos is the Thinking of You from the Quiet Meadow. It's just a nice little sort of ornate, well, sort of, yeah, sort of not overly ornate font, but it's sort of elegant, I think. Yeah, Thinking of You. I'm going to bring in my early espresso again. And I'm just going to pop the Thinking of You down the bottom, but slightly over to the right-hand side just to add some interest to the card. So just over this side here. Hopefully get it straight. I noticed that it's not stamping particularly straight, this one. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, so Thinking of You just there. Then I'm going to again pop this one through my Time Worn Type embossing folder. And I'm going to be a little bit careful. I've been noticing that when you pop your embossing through your embossing folder after it's just stamped, you do tend to get a little bit of transfer. And I was using a piece of just photocopy paper just to stop that transfer from happening, but I haven't got a piece of photocopying paper, so I might use, this is just an old sticker thing. So I don't want the colours from the last one that I stamped, the pretty flower one, I don't want that to transfer to this one. So I'm just going to pop a piece of paper, just thin paper, so I won't change the, or shouldn't change the embossing too much. But as I say, I don't want that colour to transfer over. So that's just a wee hint if you're using embossing folders after stamping. It happened to me 2 or 3 times when I was making my Christmas cards. Couldn't work out why it was happening. I was going, where's that ink coming from? And I realised it was being transferred by the embossing folder from the previous card that I had made. There we are. So here we have that one as well with our pretty embossing. Okay, so I'm going to use the 2 colours from the card in my card base, and it's a matter of working out which way, whether I go light and dark and then dark and light. So this is my Sahara Sand. That's my early espresso. Yeah, I think I'm going to go, we'll have a look the other way, but I think I'm going to go that way. So that way, no, I think I'm going to go, so the card base is going to be my early espresso. Again, grab my trimmer out. So 5.5, scored at 4 1/8. It's pretty much exactly a sheet, half a sheet of A4. And I'll grab my Sahara Sand, which I couldn't find any scraps of, sadly, and then that's going to be 4 inches by 1/8 of an inch down, which is 5 3/8. Those two, then we'll bring in our stamped panel. And that goes on top. Yeah, I like that. So this would be a lovely sort of masculine birthday card even, sort of, you know, that sort of earthy sort of colours that we tend to like to give to the gentlemen in our lives. So we'll glue those on. And then I'm going to pop some bling. I haven't actually put ribbon on in either of these today. Life's too short to play with ribbon sometimes. Back in the bank with Mum yesterday. That's why it's been such a busy week. I've been helping Mum with some matters, sort of bills and government agencies and things like that, that you just seem to have to ring so many people, and then someone will tell you, yeah, that's fixed, no problem, I've done that for you, and then you find yourself back talking to them again the next month or whatever. Just, it seems never ending. But all part of the process, I suppose, of that sort of thing. Hopefully some of them are slowly being sorted out, but well, I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I'm sure I'll be on the phone again next month as well. Okay, so that's the Early Espresso and Sahara Sand card base there. I am going to give this one a wee bit of bling because I think the rustic metallic adhesive dots would just go perfectly with that colouring. I need to buy another packet of these. I've got just big ones left, so we'll go big ones. And we'll just pop those around. It's a matter of where. I usually play with them a million times before I work out where I'm going to pop them. I'm sure there must be some rule. I know there's the use 3 rule, and then there's the form a triangle rule. But there must be another rule that I'm missing, because I do have to play with them quite a lot. Anyway, I do like those. They're just really nice in with the, I don't like that one. Really nice fitting in with that sort of colour scheme that we're going for with this one. Okay, so there we are. So that is another one. As I say, this is using that flower from the uniquely artistic, and then we've used the rectangle out of the watercolour shapes. So that's our 2 cards for today. How we go for time? 38 minutes. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. I can get on with the rest of my day. I'm going to get out into the garden while it's not raining. So we've got 2 cards. Well, 3 if you count the original darker version of our flower. Yeah, all lovely, and you know, all different sort of moods and things. You've got your sort of austere colours and your light colours as well. As I say, that flower is really nice to, you can bunch it up and make it bigger, use it as a single bloom. There's not really any rules as far as that's concerned, and it's a lovely, easy, fussy cut as well. So no real problem there. Okay, so we've got the uniquely artistic and the watercolor shapes. I hope you enjoyed those today. If you have any questions about any of the products that you see on my videos, please reach out. If you're even vaguely interested in that joining offer that starts on the 4th of October, please reach out as well. We'd love to have you in our little team. I know some of my beautiful chatty stampers sort of log into my videos all the time, and it's lovely to see. Yeah, so it's great to see you all. Have a great week, and I will see you all again at the weekend.